My name is Dr. Julie Toomoon. I'm a naturopathic medical doctor and an acupuncturist with a physical practice located in Plymouth, Michigan, and an online and distance practice for anyone in the world. And this video is about DNA activation and matrix restoration, a process that I added to my practice about a year ago, and a process that I think foundationally changes how we heal. To understand the importance, the essence of why DNA activation can potentially dramatically alter one's health and even the course of one's life, we need to explore just a few basic, simple facets of DNA itself. Now, most people have seen an image of DNA, the twisted ladder-like shape. We all have probably been shown this either in movies or through studies in school. DNA's shape imparts a great deal of understanding as to its potential function. Now, some people have suggested that DNA is more of a holographic computer. That's somewhat because of the work of Dr. Rupert Sheldrake and his work with morphic resonance, that it is generating the hologram of our existence. I also like to think of DNA as a receiver. It is receiving information from the source field, the source chi, the creating force of the universe, some people call it God, transmitting it and creating our physical form and our experience of life. And that would be true about everything that has DNA, of course, and which is associated with our existence. Now, the interesting thing about this torsion shape, this twisted shape of DNA, is that other things that generate torsion waves are intentional thoughts. Electrical impulses generate torsion waves. Torsion waves have been seen to form spontaneously, and the helical form of DNA itself has been seen to form spontaneously based off of intention alone. So it makes one then have to really significantly wonder and theorize that if intention for existence can generate this torsion shape, then it would make sense that our own DNA is the representation of the intention of existence, of our unique existence from some other source outside of ourselves. DNA also is highly responsive to the most original medicine, which really is sound. In every religious tradition and spiritual tradition on the planet, the creation story involves the initial use of sound, either through a spoken word or through a sound being generated in order to create the existence that we have. The human voice is the most potent healing tool that we have, as it has been observed our cells respond most significantly to its effect than of any other. And if our DNA is in fact generating the holographic experience of our physical self, then one should ask the question, if it were altered or damaged, then what would happen to the resulting image? The way I often describe this to people is, if you're getting a perfect message on one side that goes through a receiver, a transmitter, but the transmitter itself is garbled a bit, it puts out a message that is then garbled. And there would be no way for the perfect, beautiful presentation of that information to properly express itself in our physical self or our emotional, mental, or spiritual self if it had been somewhat altered in just the mere transmission of the information. The work behind DNA activation is based very much so off of that concept, that for a very long time we as individuals, as beings, have been existing with an altered transmitter. And that when that transmitter is reset, we get a renewed connection to the source information that is informing our existence. That has profound and sort of endless implications. But of course, it's going to be totally unique for each individual person. And I've always found that one of the facets of this that makes it so fascinating is that very often we approach a healing process with a set list of goals, which is fantastic. You have to set those intentions, where you want the effort to go. In Qigong we say, where the mind goes, the Qi goes, and where the Qi goes, healing follows. So it's essential that we set that up. But sometimes what we perceive as being the thing that we most need healed is in fact not what most needs to be healed, or maybe not in the order we think it. And I see this most often with people when they come to my office and they have a myriad of concerns, but they're focused, let's say, on the desire to lose weight. And the body ranks that a lot lower than the need to have good digestion and strong energy and good sleep. And so it will prioritize itself. What I love about this process is that it puts the body into control. That the communication that is reestablished between ourselves and the universe, the source field, the ether, the creator that generates our physical self, as that communication is reestablished, that emergence of life in our body in places where it has been blocked or hindered takes on such unique presentations. And sometimes it surprises us because, of course, all kinds of things block that expression. If our DNA is altered so it's generating a garbled message, it also leaves us open for being less than ideally healthy. And as soon as those doors are opened, unfortunately, I always tell people, once you open the door, any number of pathogens comes in. So in some people, that door seems to get flung wide open. In some people, it's slightly cracked. But the resulting effect is that so many people experience dramatic toxicity from heavy metals and pesticides. Others experience pretty significant chronic infections or issues with candida. Others experience weaknesses in organ systems that they have a very hard time overcoming, which generate pretty significant food sensitivity reactions and emotional outbursts and pain. But what if the origin of most of those things was anchored in dysfunction at the level of the DNA? If we repair the level of the DNA, if we establish correction in the transmitter, then the efforts that we do from our part by eating clean food and meditating and orienting our life on processes of healing and enjoying laughter and having good relationships, all of those things then can bear fruit, because as we put the effort in, the body can respond. So much, I think, is of what has happened to human health, especially in the last 10 to 20 years, in all honesty, with the growing onslaught of offenses through our food and what's in the air and what's happening to our water, is that we cannot overcome that constant bombardment because it's coming in from that end and the message is garbled at the core. But when we reestablish the proper message, then we can finally allow the body, the process, to reject all of that toxicity. We can put ourselves in a state of greater awareness, and we can elevate the possibility of healing. There's a lot of aspects to healing, and our insults are stored at many places. Some are very physical, some are mental, some are emotional, and even others are spiritual. But what I feel is that if we change the information at the source, we create an entirely new possibility. And then we need fewer and fewer interventions to make the changes happen. I have felt for a long time that it should be very concerning to everyone, especially in the natural medicine community, just how many remedies we now need to help people heal. We often see that people don't feel well unless they're taking handfuls of supplements or herbs or remedies, in addition perhaps to even pharmaceutical drugs. And although with handfuls of things, often people can recover a good portion of their health, especially if they combine that with avoiding a significant number of foods, it is an unsustainable position to expect that every person on the planet is going to take handfuls of pills. And to me, that highlights a much greater problem, in that our bodies have become so disconnected from nourishment that we need to supplement such massive amounts of nourishment just to survive. That is not the plan that we were gifted at the origin of all life. We were made in the image of the greatest expression of life possible. So therefore, in our most healthy state, we should not need handfuls of supplementary nutrients just to keep us going. Needing a few because of deficiencies in our soil is one thing, but needing handfuls indicates we have a much bigger problem. I feel that if we use DNA activation at the core of a health process, what we have unleashed is unlimited potential and possibility. And the thing about it is that once you activate connection to source, it doesn't just create possibility for your physical healing, it creates possibility for your life healing. Because little do we realize, but very often carrying the vibration of life-affirming information, I guess that's probably not the best way to put it. We carry, when we don't have the correct message, and that message was meant just not just for our physical self, but for every aspect of our being. When the message is garbled and hindered and not translated in a way that we can use it effectively, for very many people, I would say not everyone, but for very many people, that results in a life that is rather stuck, and a life that isn't filled with passion, and a life that doesn't reflect our deepest desires and our most inherent expression of the true self that we're existing in. But when that message is clarified, it allows potential good to emerge. It's still up to us if we act on it, but it allows those doors to open to give us a possibility of real living. This is the blessing of DNA activation. This is the blessing of matrix restoration. And I have seen it happen time and time again, that unbelievable things start to emerge into people's lives that one couldn't have even guessed were going to be the next unfolding. And one of the greatest blessings is often a sense of true self-love and self-appreciation that allows people to sit present in their life with the understanding that that current of the universe is finally meshed with who they are, and they can feel that, and they transcend things like fear and anger and violence and see ways to help other people do that. And I think that's one of the biggest blessings of all. My name is Dr. Julie Toomoon, and if you're interested in learning more about matrix restoration or DNA activation, I encourage you to look at my ebook and download it. You are welcome to contact me with questions, because what I feel is that if we could all experience what this healing method has to offer, that we would see a dramatic shift, not just in our own lives, but in the communities we exist in the world that we're living in, and an entirely new future full of possibility would begin to emerge for so many people.